Hey guys, welcome back. Today we've got another brand breakdown for you. Jess, we're talking round two. Round two vintage. It's one of the biggest vintage stores, most renowned in the world probably. They're also big in sneaker reseller world too. Jess, I know this is a brand you've been following for a long time. You love them. What do you think about round two?
Jack, man, I'm torn. I'm upset. That's probably the right emotion. Very upset. I think.
Why are you upset, Jesse?
Look, Sean, definitely a big idol of mine. And the whole YouTube channel, I used to be glued to that back when I was in high school, and that was a revolution. No sneaker store had shown that side of things. And we fast forward to today, man, the round two's done. It's dead in my eyes. They've shut 4 or 5 stores in the last few years. The brand's not the same. Luke's left. He's gone and started Luke's New York City. He's a huge part of the brand. Sean doesn't really give a shit about it. His Instagram bio has about 9 different companies there. It's like, where's your bloody priorities at? So in my eyes, round two's it's dead. There's no other way to put it. The brand's not what it used to be. And
let's start. That's obviously the current state of play. Let's go back to the start, give people a bit of an idea of the journey of round two for those that don't know.
Crazy journey.
So started in 2013 in Virginia.
Yep.
3 friends.
Yep.
You got Luke, Sean and Chris.
Yeah, well, first things first, starting in Virginia is fucking crazy. Where is Virginia?
Yeah, you don't hear about many brands or...
Nah, no one's coming out of Virginia. So they did that straight up. It was out of a shipping container. Just to make matters a little bit crazier. They had massive collections. They were vintage fiends. They were skating all the time. They were right immersed in the culture. They came together with their collections. And just as these things start, with a few phone calls from mates of mates, what do you have? People come through the shipping container, check it out. And fast forward 2 years, they opened an LA store.
Yeah. 2015, LA store, YouTube channel up and running, which...
Melrose, Fairfax, something I think it was Melrose, main drag.
Yep. And I suppose on top of that, with the LA store, they've built this YouTube channel, which I think is a great place to start. And that is probably, helped them really take themselves to the next level from that small shipping container. Now they're in LA. Now they've got this YouTube channel. They've got a bigger platform. Jess, I know you watch that channel.
For sure. Shout out to Pat. We were on the iPad in class just watching the shit out of that. And man, there's nothing like it. You got to see deals getting done. You got to see the community out there, what it's really like. And it was just so accessible. I know on my trip in 2015, I went by LA, and I never forget, Sean was on the bottom of a shoe stand, just lacing up these Prestos, setting them up. And I tapped him on the shoulder. He was hunched right over. I felt really awkward about it. I was like, fuck it, I just got to go over. And I tapped him on the shoulder. He turned around, he stood up, shook my hand. It was an absolute legend. Spoke for maybe not half an hour, that was an exaggeration. Felt like half an hour when you're fanboying like that. But hey, I was young, I'm allowed to fanboy back then. But yeah, man, we had a really good chat. He was very down to earth. I think straight away, everything he stands for, the whole vegan thing. And a lot of people question a lot of until you meet someone, you don't know if that's all bullshit. And straight away, he was laughing about Australia, what's that like what's going on there type of thing. He was very curious. So straight away, I was like, this is my guy. And, and things really started to change after that AirMax competition.
They did, Jess. 2017, Nike, to celebrate their AirMax Day, they hosted this huge competition, which they invited the biggest sneaker designers in the world to enter, basically to put in an AirMax or a mashup of an AirMax, and hopefully the winner was going to then, have a collaboration with Nike.
That Russian guy nearly won, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Lebedev, I believe.
Your memory is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I think he was leading most of the time. But anyway, Sean ended up winning it with the 97.
Yeah.
The famous ones that everyone would know.
That's where the YouTube channel came in.
Correct. Yeah, because they were saying that obviously through the YouTube channel, all the stores of round two started to, pick up, and there's lines outside now, and there's, celebrities coming in. And so they put a little installation in the store to vote for the shoe.
Fuck.
So obviously just naturally you're walking into round two, you're soaking up the energy. Sean's here next to you, probably looking over your shoulder at the screen.
For sure.
And everyone's clicking Sean's 97.
For sure.
So I think that probably helped a lot.
Dude, absolutely. That is when he just had a chokehold on society. And not for like one moment, like for at least a few years. Like we're talking LeBron, like every single athlete, celebrity kind of wore those 97s.
Yeah, I suppose that took Sean to another level in the space, didn't it?
It elevated him above round 2 for sure. He became his own entity.
Yeah.
Like there's people out there that don't know what round 2 was. They just know who Sean is because of that sneaker. It's very common. He obviously went on to do the ASICS collaboration. He was with Guess not too long after that. You know, we should talk about the brands he didn't work with because they give you a better idea. But look, man, they opened up New York, which is one of my favorite stores. Never got to Miami or Chicago, but they were out there. They just like blew the fuck up.
Yeah, I suppose built off that momentum of the LA YouTube channel, 97 contest.
Yeah, what else do you need?
3 more stores. Yeah, they'd gone big essentially. But just as you were alluding to earlier, your tastes have kind of changed for round 2 now. So what happened after that?
Look, I mean, everyone will give you a slightly different answer, but my version of it and the way I perceive it was, you know, Sean was a real enthusiast of vintage, like from when I met him, from people I know that worked with Sean way before round 2 really started or as it was beginning. All I heard was positive, real things about him. He was buying Prestos, which really you could only get your hands on in Australia for a long time. Weird, I know, but it's just how it was. Similar thing with Tans as well, anyway. But he was right at the forefront, and the reality is, you know, he was at Rose Bowl Flea. He was at every fucking little Melrose thing. He was the guy with the big shipping bag, the IKEA.
Boots on the ground,
IKEA bag, getting it sorted. And then I think as he started to grow online with his presence, he couldn't really go out and do those things. And then plus there was a lot of hate on the 97 as well. So like that was just from like, I mean, whenever you do something at that scale,
it's always going to be.
There's always going to be an element of hate. And he didn't, you know, from what I saw with Sean on socials, like he didn't really respond well to that hate. I'm actually kind of having flashbacks. We had a few DMs, I think. Anyway, I don't know if I'm dreaming that. I think we did. I don't know.
Let's try to get those out.
We'll fact check it.
Keep you honest on that.
Yeah, fact check me. But long story short, man, I think even bigger than that is like, you know, OG Luke left. He's now started up Luke's NYC. That's massive, man. That's his right-hand man. To be honest, Chris, he's too low-key to mention on this podcast. Sorry, Chris. Don't know much about you. But the bigger thing than all of that was the saturation and the commoditization, that's a hard word to say, of the sneaker and streetwear industry.
Yeah, it probably became less about the love and passion for vintage and that nostalgia and more about how much money can I make if I buy these shoes for $200 and look to resell them for double?
Yeah, don't think anywhere past StockX, man. Like that's the kind of landmark thing of like you buy your sneaker, you go on StockX, what's it selling for? What have the last 10 sneakers sold for in my size? It's a commodity, man. Like it's like buying stocks or some shit. And it just ripped the heart out of it. And you know, it's like Supreme are doing collaborations because of, you know, maybe some of that clout that they'll get to resell for more, and people sense that. It's like they're no longer probably doing the collaborations of what the brand was built on. Like, let's release toothbrushes and like fucking floss for your teeth. It's like, what the hell's going on with this brand?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, round 2 sold off pretty much all their stores. They only have LA, Chicago left.
That's it.
And we think they've sold
vintage.
their IG. From the way it looks.
Dude, do not go on there. I mean, first things first, Shaq, is they have way too many fucking Instagrams. I think they have about 8 rounds.
Yeah, that was the one that we realized that quick. Like
that's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it from, you know, every store a different vintage and they need to post that, but I still don't get it. But the main point with that, Jack, is I think the biggest one was their Hollywood store, which it's round 2 Hollywood. I think you can fact check me on that. And they sold it off. It's like a meme page now. It's like, that to me is like the ultimate sellout move.
Yeah, it's like a reseller app or something that they're collaborating with on every post. And
don't waste your time on that. But look, I think Austin, a previous employee, is running that all. I don't know. It's too whack for my liking. But look, at the end of it, Jack, like what it showed me is, you know, I went to the New York store. There was a security guard at the front. You had to line up for an hour. Like I experienced it. This place, this store at its pinnacle, Sean leading the way. There was nothing more like on pulse. There was nothing more that people wanted than round 2 and Sean, right? So what it's taught me is like trends change. The industry is volatile. What's hot now might not be hot in 2-3 years. In fact, it might be going under, which is kind of round 2 or at least be getting sold off. So I don't know. I'm kind of happy we're in the industry we're in with the blanks.
100%. Yeah, I think it's a lot less volatile. It's blank clothing. Everyone's worn blank clothing for a long time, and hopefully still a long time to come.
I'm fingers crossing that.
Yeah. But no, I think to your point, like people change, people move on, tastes and preferences change. It sounds like that's what's happened with Sean, Luke, and Chris, the OG founders. Is they've probably seen the writing on the wall with the industry. They've been grassroots in it. They've done it out of love. They've seen it shift, change from underneath them. And so it sounds like, they've kind of got out at a good time and onto using that as a platform to go and do their own things, whatever's next.
It's important to make that point that I think they've done it tactically and in a pretty smart sense, because as we said, it's saturated this market, the streetwear, the buying, the reselling. So they've noted that and they've gone bang. You just look at Sean's Instagram bio, there's about 15 companies tagged in there. So that guy's doing all sorts of things. His name's worth a lot of money. Luke's doing something similar with his own products, and the buying and selling that he's curating out of his own store in New York. Got to pull up there one time. But yeah, man, cycle of life.
Yep. Cool. Well, that's the end of this brand breakdown. Guys, if you have any other recommendations for brands you want us to break down, please drop us a DM, drop us a line. We'll be sure to check those out.
Take care.